The good news is I'm pretty sure if I go in here and I go to videos, it should still be in here somewhere. Do you see anything that says rubber ducks?
It should be the first one, isn't it?
No.
Scroll the whole way down.
Dog whistler, door, supermarket, white rabbit. Oh, fuck. Fuck! I do have to screen capture it. Did I get rid of it like a fucking dumbass?
You might have.
Oh, that pisses me off.
I did want to tell you about the dream I had last night.
Speak into that.
Am I not close enough?
Move it towards you and speak into it.
You need to adjust the joints.
It's the thing on the top. Like, it's that, by the way. You just have to tighten it. Nope. Yep. Sure.
But yeah, no. The weird, very, 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 very weird dream I had last night. And it's not uncommon for me to have weird, like, anxiety-inducing dreams. Like, I've always had very vivid dreams, like, very real feeling night terrors. But the one last night was somewhere between a combination of, like, night terror, but also just, like, very anxiety-inducing. I don't remember much of it. Like, I remember the feelings I was having. I know I was in, like, the woods somewhere with people who, in the dream, I knew them. I was in the middle of the woods with people who I knew in the dream. Very comfortable, very just like, we're here, we're doing what we're doing. There was one point in that dream, and it honestly gives me anxiety thinking about it, and it gives me the heebie-jeebies. And you know, I don't mind critters or bugs. I'm very much a bug person. I like bugs. It is what it is. But in the dream, we're walking, and this owl, white owl, like, think white, snowy owl, like, most basic bitch owl you can think of.
Spread your tiny wings and fly away.
But this owl comes down, and I hear the hoo hoo, and I turn, and it lands on a branch beside me. And the first thing I notice is that it's looking at me. So on my left side, its left eye has 5 pupils. Its right eye has no pupils, just a white eye. So from my, like, left side, 5 pupils in its eye. Clear as day. Like, I could, like, absolutely clear as day. Like, I'm convinced I talked to a demigod last night. Like, it shook me when I woke up. Snowy white owl, 5 pupils in the left eye as I'm looking at it, and no pupil in the right eye. And then it lands, and I remember going, what is this? And then it wasn't like it was rotting or decaying, but flies started coming out from under its wings and going back into its wings. So it was like these waves of flies coming out of the feathers and going back into the feathers. And in my dream, I reached out and touched it.
The flies or the feathers?
The feathers. Like, I touched the
like on
owl.
the wing? Yeah, sure.
Like, and I thought something was wrong with it, because it wasn't like it was swarmed by flies. It was like the flies were coming from inside of it and rippling across its feathers like waves. They weren't coming out and surrounding it. They were a part of it. So it was like this owl came down, and then when I acknowledged its presence, these flies were coming from inside the feathers, swirling over top of the feathers, like in waves, just like in and out of the feathers. And whoever was in my group was like, oh, they have a message for you. And I remember feeling like this most anxiety-inducing dread. Because I'm like, what is this coming to tell me? Because the owl didn't freak me out. Even with the 5-pupiled eye and the no pupiled eye. Like, that's like some, like, fates bullshit, like the present and the past, like can see into the past and like I'm sure somewhere along the line, if you dig into mythology and shit, there's something about that. But what freaked me out was the fact that it came down, was sitting there, and then all of a sudden it was just like these swaths of flies. And they weren't flying around it. Like, I don't want to give off the impression that it was like rotting. The owl was perfectly fine. These flies were a part of that owl. Because they just like wove in and out of the feathers. And it was like, think of like ocean waves crashing on a beach. The way that they moved amongst this owl, it wasn't like they were flying off and on, off and on. They were buzzing, like I could hear the buzzing, but they were just moving through the feathers of the owl. And as I touched it, like they moved around my finger, like it, like water rippling. And it was the most unsettling imagery at that point. The owl with a 5 pupil eye and no pupil eye, fine, great. I will work with that. The flies, I woke up so anxious because in the dream I was told he has a message for me, and then I didn't get the message. I don't know what the message was. Like, I woke up in anxiety before then, and it's very weird to me because, like, I vaguely remember the rest of the dream. And that might be one of those things where that other part of the dream was happening in the part of the brain that, like, doesn't register nightmares. Which I believe is a thing. But, like, there's a part, from my understanding, there's a part of your brain that, like, registers nightmares differently than the other dreaming part of your brain. So I don't know if I went from dream into nightmare, or if, like, I tried to speak to a demigod last night. And they had something to tell me, and I woke up because they were fucking surrounded by flies, and I didn't fucking like that.
Did you say you were in a group of people?
Yeah.
Of what people? Nobody.
Just nobody. Just like, but in the dream, I was comfortable with them. Mm-hmm. In the dream, I knew them. Like, they were my people. We were traveling in the woods. It was like a chilly day. Like, I remember like being bundled up with what? Couldn't tell you, but there were voices around me and they were friendly, and I had that feeling of, oh, I know these people. These are fine. And when the owl flew in and I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh, they have a message for you. And then the flies happened and I was just immediately like, oh, what is it? What do you want? Like, it, like, pure... Like, it gave me pure dread and anxiety, like, looking at that. Not the owl itself, but the flies. Like, that was just, like, too much for me. And
you literally just got asked the question, too, like, yesterday. Allie asked you a question yesterday on the lines of, like, what can you do? Or something. And I forget what the fuck the question... She asked the really... Like, she asked the good question, but just worded it terribly.
But it made sense after the fact, because I didn't know that you had told them about, like...
Which stuff?
Like, what I believe and what I practice. Which I have no issue with that. It caught me off guard because I didn't know that they knew that. She had asked... what can you do beyond us right now? Or like you and I right now. And I was like, what do you mean? And I do agree with what I said. Like, probably nothing, at least to my knowledge and like my skill set right now. But like, I thought about that too this morning, about how she said like, well, what do you do? Or like, how do you do it? I feel like I need to research more into like different deities and stuff, and like, see who has an owl.
Yeah, I was going to say, what the hell's an owl and what the hell's flies? Yeah,
because to me, those both don't seem good, because...
Possibly very symbolic.
I mean,
something's going on.
Owls in some religions are harbingers of bad omens. In some, they're great omens. Like, and are not... A harbinger is a bringer of something, and omen's usually bad, but it doesn't have to be, from my understanding. I think harbinger just means bringer of. I could be wrong. But yeah, no, after that conversation, I'm like, who or what is trying to reach out to me? Like, oh, you wanna know something? Hold on. But that gave me such anxiety and dread when I woke up after the flies, and I'm like, who did I make mad? Like, who was I unintentionally connecting with that was like, what do you mean you can't do something beyond? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know. Because, like, there's definitely different things that, like, I connect with, like, I don't worship, as a Wiccan, I don't worship any gods or goddesses. Because when you're Wiccan, there's multiple that you can choose from. Like, Wiccan really is a make it your own practice. Like, whatever resonates with you resonates with somebody else. And, like, if you're in a coven or working with other people, like, other people work with different deities and gods, and some don't at all. Some just worship nature, like I do. I came from it, I will go to it kind of a deal. That's it for me. That's how I view it. And it's about intention, and what you put out there is what you get back. Very much like how people say karma and shit like that. But no, it really did like kind of have me questioning this morning of like, what was that? Because at first it was very like comforting. Like, oh, this owl has a message for me, and then it felt like I made them mad. So now I have to like...
I've done that before where I've had dreams where I didn't understand something or whatever. I like sometimes it comes to me like in a later date, maybe even a much later date. But you can also just see like there's people out there, I feel like, that interpret dreams or interpret the meanings of something.
Absolutely.
And I haven't had like a fucking vivid dream like that since the vampire dream a long time ago. That was fun.
But, I mean, you spend a third of your life asleep. The science of dreaming and the unconscious mind is still very much, to my understanding, I'm not a scholar in anything. I've been in my profession 7 years and I don't know what I'm doing. Because after so many days without sleep, you will start losing your mind. There's a disorder called fatal familia insomnia. I might be saying that wrong. But the condition is, and it's usually in families, and it can spark in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. It runs in families, though, from my understanding. And it's a condition where one day you will wake up and your body will never let you sleep again because something in your body attacks the cortex of your brain that allows for and induces sleep. Because I'm pretty sure being awake like 72 hours is like the equivalent of having like a blood alcohol content of like over the legal limit. So that study of like the unconscious mind and while you're dreaming and like REM sleep and the way that your brain processes a dream versus a nightmare and what comes of that. Like even sleepwalking and talking. Like when you're asleep, you should not be able to get up and walk and talk. Like there's a part of your brain that's like, we're not doing this. It shuts it down. You cannot move and run, or you cannot get up and do anything in REM sleep. Me as somebody who is a sleepwalker, or I used to be, and I still might be, I'm asleep. I don't know. I could have gotten up in the middle of the night and unbeknownst to you, like went and did whatever in the living room and came back to bed.
As long as you don't drive a car.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Or try to leave the house.
Watch the steps. They'll come up fast.
But it's
all
wild.
All that reminded me of that what the Markiplier thing that we just watched, or at least I watched it. Edge of Sleep. That your whole dream, this fits so well into this podcast because like me and Rob's coffee talk is, us being jackasses. You actually brought something really neat to the table.
Well, you have a witch for a wife. So
I do.
I don't know what to tell you.
This is Anna. She is my wife.
Anyway, that's a good segue.
It is. I like it. So, once again, we're going to go ahead and review an SCP. Normally, we would do this at random, but we are going to cheat. And we are going to review an SCP that we already reviewed, me and her personally.
It was like one of the first times we sat down together and or the first time we sat down
I feel like it's the only time that we actually sat down together to record this podcast.
Potentially, yeah.
Before I got all my kinks and stuff out with my audio and how I wanted this to be done. But we rolled this SCP and loved it so much. Once I realized that like I couldn't do anything with what I had, I told myself I would really like this to be a thing. So the SCP that we are reviewing is number 3947, and it is called Duckies. Robber, not rubber. Instead of actually like going in it blind and not knowing what the hell's going on, we know this SCP because we reviewed it.
And we loved it.
Now, I don't want to keep this as a thing where we're going to do... We might do this every now and again, but then again, I haven't really read another SCP that I want to go over again. But we are going to do this because it's my show and we'll do whatever the hell I say.
And we liked it too much to not go back to this, to redo it, to share with you guys.
And you guys are going to be very, very happy with why we chose to do this. But, Beeb, if you want to go ahead and take it at the beginning there at Special Containment Procedures.
SCP-3947, which is an Object Class Euclid. The instances are to be kept in a bathtub housed inside a large-size, high-value containment chamber at Site-88. Requests for money, decoration, or bath toys are to be granted as long as the items will not result in an increased risk of containment breach. Staff assigned to 3947 are to have a good understanding of and fondness for slapstick comedy. Task Force Omega-16, that's all folks, is to be present on site at all times to prevent escape attempts.
It's coming back to me now. It's so funny. I love it. You want to keep going?
I can. So, description of 3947 is a collection of 5 rubber duck bath toys. Each SCP-3947 instance possesses a unique design. 3947 instances are sentient and capable of human-like vocalizations in exaggerated accents.
I'll be doing the exaggerated accents.
3947 instances can produce objects commonly used in slapstick cartoons, such as a frying pan, boxing gloves, and anvils. On several occasions, 3947 instances have shown the ability to temporarily alter their shape, gaining limbs or transforming into objects, such as miniature boats or bombs. 3947 instances are capable of using any produced items regardless of size or weight. Very much like any cartoon.
For whatever reason, this it sounds like I get Mask vibes, like The Mask, like Jim Carrey The Mask, out of this bullshit. It's just like what he could do with a mask on, but it's the ducks doing this.
To me, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Weasels.
Oh, that makes sense too. Oh, that's right.
Weasels
all
the way.
I feel like we made that connection the last time.
I think we did. And this is a redoing, but it's great. Persons or objects subject to violence from 3947 instances suffer no permanent harm. The instances themselves similarly will suffer no permanent damage from the action of others. In both cases, the affected individuals will suffer painful but not debilitating damage, often involving stretching or large lumps that heal very quickly. 3947 instances often attempt to escape their chamber in order to commit such acts as theft or assault. No attempt to escape the facility itself has been attempted. 3947 instances enjoy smoking cigarettes, which is the item they most frequently manifest. I guess that saves money. They can create limbs to hold it. Mm-hmm. 3947 instances have... I'm losing my spot. 3947 instances have a marked hatred of people who openly express a dislike of slapstick.
Me too.
Well, instances will actively attempt to steal from and attack such individuals whilst repeatedly insulting them.
It's just me knowing what's coming ahead. This is what's unfair about this one is like I actually know what's coming ahead. So I'm going to introduce you to the people that I'm going to be playing coming up here in a little bit because we got dialogue and we love the dialogue. Okay, 3947-1 acts as the leader of the instances. 1 does not commit hostile acts itself, instead giving commands to the other instances to do so. 1 speaks in an accent reminiscing of the Godfather character in media. 1 is commonly calm and suave and is open to interviews of discussion. However, 1 is also prone to bout of anger, typically when the other instances fail to complete a task. Number 1 wears a tuxedo and has a pencil mustache and comb over.
And number 1 is the boss.
And the boss, you're coming in, you're talking about a bunch of... that was me literally just rambling on. Okay, so pinstripes. Number 2. 3947-2 acts as the strategist and the negotiator for the instances. 2 has displayed much higher intelligence than the remaining instances. 2 rarely uses its reality-altering abilities to purpose beyond creating weapons. 2 will attempt to intimidate people who try to stop related activities to the other instances. Intimidation is carried out through threats against one's family or well-being. The instances have yet to fulfill 2's threats. 2 designs includes a fedora and a pinstripe suit.
Henceforth, pinstripe.
And if I had to take a guess, I have a voice for pinstripe, and I'm pretty sure the last time I did it, I just used Vinny's voice. Come on. Vinny, by the way, Vinny is a dog. He's my mother's dog. He's a Shih Tzu, but for some reason we named the Shih Tzu Vinny, and he talks like this guy. Come on, my name is Pinstripes. Tiny, number 3. 3947-3 directly attacks individuals interfering with related activities. 3 speaks in a simple sentences and seems to lack a basic understanding of math and science. He's the dumb one. This instance is approximately, almost double the size of the typical duck. 3's design includes a leather jacket and a pompadour.
So he's big and dumb.
Tiny. Bitches. All right, Tiny. Natasha. 3947-4 is the only instance with a female appearance. 4 is capable of disabling Foundation security systems. 4's behavior appears to be relaxed except when the instance is stealing objects under one's direction.
The boss.
4 speaks with Russian accent. 4's design includes balaclava and blue dress. Last time I almost made the same mistake. I almost said
baklava.
I almost said fish head. She wears fish head on head.
I want to know, I need a picture of how she has a female appearance. I want to know what that means.
Rubber duck with tits. And Blasty, 3947 will cause to havoc. Oh, God. 3947-5 will cause havoc separately from the other instances while those instances carry out the number 1's orders. This generally accomplished through the application of explosive. 5's personality appears incredibly unstable with the instances laughing or screaming at various times. 5's designs includes blast armor. Blasty, big guy. Does he say that he's havoc? So I would say that...
Will cause havoc, so I would... Like, where Tiny seems to be, like, the muscle of the group. Like, the boss is the boss. Pinstripes is second in command.
Hey, guy.
Tiny is the muscle. Natasha's just there to fuck shit up. Can I swear in this podcast?
As normally I am here to fuck shit
She's
up.
Russian. She's around it. And then Blasty is just the one that, like, they also have to keep an eye on because, like, he doesn't want to go after them, but they might get caught in the aftermath if they're not careful.
I don't remember if Blasty actually has any talking lines down here, but if he does, I have to come up with a voice for Blasty.
You'll figure it out.
On May 7, 2009, the SCP agreed to a private interview with Dr. Carver, the head researcher.
Before we begin, I'd like to thank you for granting this interview.
It's not too much of a problem. I'm just not the busiest guy in the world, so you can chat for however long you like.
Excellent. On the matter at hand, why do you and the rest of the instances feel a need to commit crimes?
We commit crimes for the same reason you researchers research. We're criminals. Ain't too complicated if you ask me.
No, I mean, what are your motives for committing crimes?
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun, I guess. It's just always been a thing that we do.
So no motive to speak of at all? Not even greed?
Christ, more of this mumbo jumbo. You know, back in the day, stuff was simple. Us villains, we didn't need no stinking motives or whatever. We did it because we were the bad guys. Not everyone has a complex backstory. You want me to blab on and on about how we were created or something or other, or just accept that some things exist for the simple pleasures?
I think you've made your point clear. Guards, please escort SCP-3947-1 back to its cell.
Get 'em, boys! 2 bowling balls fall from the ceiling, knocking the guards unconscious. The idiot belly knew what hit him!
SCP-3947 has breached contain...
3 strikes Dr. Carver with a frying pan. Take that, nerd man. Quit screwing around, you dolt! We gotta go try to find wherever the stash is. Yes, we must go before the guards come. Perhaps we will find vodka this time.
SCP-3947 instances are not to be allowed out of their cells under any circumstances.
I fucking love it so much.
You need to leave that last part in with your laugh, though, in the background.
Oh my god. See, it wasn't that hard to get through this one.
No, not at all.
It's just so much fun. Is there another part to this at all? Because I don't remember. Was that a sneeze?
And a struggle.
Jesus. It's
I'm changing. It felt like Dane Cook.
Something's happening to me. I feel like my favorite person out of here. It's just, I don't know why, but I love doing the Russian accent.
Blasty would be my favorite. Just a crazy one. Mm-hmm. Like, that follows every trope I've ever liked. Just a crazy, ridiculous, doing whatever the fuck they want one.
And that's right. We did make that connection. I feel like after reading the description between all of them, we made the connection between the weasels from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And in all honesty, it makes sense. When we read this, we fucking loved it. We were laughing a lot more than we were currently laughing, but still, this is totally one of my favorite ones that we have read so far. Trying to get this up and going. And that's why we said to ourselves, we should totally just do this one again. So
definitely
so we didn't lose it.
Definitely a good redo, because I feel like as far as SCP knowledge goes, I have been very much into SCPs for the last couple years. I know a fair amount and the way the classes work, and just a little bit more general base knowledge. But this is definitely an SCP that I had never came across before. So when we got this one, I was very intrigued and amused by it. And I really did just enjoy it overall. So coming back to this one, as the first one Matt and I did together, was definitely, it felt like it needed to be done.
So anyway, that would be the end of that. We can give the rating, but we were doing ratings 1 out of 5. But we would both give this one a 5 because I felt like that we just loved it so much. It's so incredibly. It's stupid funny.
It's us.
To me, this is right up my alley. So that's why I wanted to redo this one. But yeah, thanks to everybody that's been giving me support here on the Going with Rogue channel. Anybody that's subscribed, liking, make sure that you comment. Comment on this video and,
give us your rating.
Give us a rating, give us a suggestion that maybe something that we would look towards. Maybe that you can make a connection between this and something else, like how we made the connection to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I do want to thank my beautiful wife for joining me today. Normally it's Rob. Normally me and Rob are doing coffee
Beautiful
talk.
Rob.
Big beautiful Rob, but no, big beautiful Beeb.
Hey.
Love you.
I love
you. But yeah, these are coming out of the pike. Or that's not the phrase at all. Coming down the pike would be the phrase.
It's not pipe?
Pipe.
Anyway.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and please make sure that you spread the love and tell everybody about this podcast. Make sure you tell everybody about the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.